Well, howdy y'all, and welcome back to my channel. I am Sai Strikeling, and we are back with another episode of Architects Exodus. We're going to jump right back into where we left off, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I am going to start off just by letting you guys know that I am narrating this after the fact. So I've already played this, recorded it. Unfortunately, my mic audio did not record for the entire thing. So I am having to go back and narrate over it, so I do apologize. Hopefully you guys are understanding, and I will do my best. So in between episodes, I did add a lot of area to my base. So I added just a bunch of grass blocks. And the reason for grass blocks is because we needed, we're going to need it for when we get into some other mods later on in this episode. I also added an enchanted table, some Ars Nouveau stuff. So we got the enchanting apparatus and some pedestals there. And so we added some area. We had to make it quite large because some of the mods as we continue on get quite big. We also did get quite powerful with our spells. We upgraded our spells quite a bit in between episodes, so those are quite a bit more powerful also. So we're going to take a look at our quest book. And we had started out with our occultism, so we had gotten the white chalk at the end of last episode, but that was pretty much as far as we had gotten in occultism. So we needed to grab the Encyclopedia Dictionary of Spirits so that we can get our occultism going. The Dictionary of Spirits gives us the right, and we click on the little eye icon so that we can visualize it, so we know exactly how to draw it. So that's going to give us the visualization, and then when you put that down, it shows you where you need to draw your pentacle. So we go ahead and we put that down, and then use our white chalk to just fill in the glyphs. So you just right click with the white chalk on all of those white glyph areas. It doesn't matter what glyph you actually draw, as long as it's just the right color chalk on the glyph spots. So we go ahead and fill in all of those, and it tells you your completion percentage up at the top there. And then the 27th item is just going to be that golden sacrificial bowl in the middle, which is easy enough to make. We had to make it when we went and did the hell fight as well. So we just get a sacrificial bowl and make that with some gold nuggets, and that gets us our golden sacrificial bowl. Go ahead and put that in the center there, and that completes our pentacle. So we have to get our other sacrificial bowls, the regular ones, because that's where the stuff around the pentacle is going to go, or around the ritual. And we need to make golden chalk. So it tells us that we have to use the ritual to make the golden chalk. So essentially the foliate crusher crushes gold into gold dust, and we're going to use that for the next part to make the gold chalk. So we need blackstone dust, amethyst dust, we need iron geode, and a copper geode. Okay, so then once we have all of our items, we take our sacrificial bowls and we put those down. They just have to be around the golden sacrificial bowl. They don't have to be in a specific spot, but they just have to be, you know, around that sacrificial bowl. And then we just put all 4 of our items in those sacrificial bowls. So then if we take a look at the recipe for Foliate Crusher, it tells us what we need. And we need that book in the middle, which is the Book of Binding Foliate. And so when we click on it, it's going to give us the recipe, and we need a few things for it. So we're going to go ahead and bookmark it. We need the Awakened Feather, the Purified Ink, and the Taboo Book. Luckily, all 3 of those things are EMCable. So once we make one, we can go ahead and make some duplicates. So pretty much all 3 things are going to get thrown into the Spirit Fire. So you need a regular plain book that gets thrown into the Spirit Fire to make the Taboo Book. Some black dye gets thrown into the Spirit Fire, and that makes our purified ink. And then a regular feather gets thrown into the Spirit Fire, and that makes our awakened feather. So we end up throwing all 3 of those things into the Spirit Fire to make them. And then I went ahead and EMC'd all 3 of them, so made multiples of them using our EMC so that we had plenty, because as we progress in occultism, you need to make more books, so it's best just to have a bunch of them on hand. Alrighty, so then we can go ahead and make our book. So once we have all those items, it makes our book. Now we have to take that book and combine it with our Dictionary of Spirits. And that's going to make the bound version of the book. So you'll see at the far right, it says bound now. And that's going to make our bound book that we actually have to use in the ritual. So that goes right in the middle on that golden sacrificial bowl, and that makes our ritual begin. And voila, we now have our foliate crusher, which is like the beginner level crusher. Now, with the little spirit guy, we do have an ender lead, so I am going to put him in our ender lead so that we can keep him safe and sound. But first, I'm going to go ahead and grab the materials that I need. So I need some gold ingots so that he can crush up the gold to make gold dust to make our gold chalk. So I grabbed the ender lead. I'm also going to grab a gold ingot and then go back up to our little foliate crusher dude. If you shift and right click, it opens up his inventory and you can put the gold ingot directly into his inventory. And then he begins crushing it there in his little grubby hands. He is quite slow. Like I said, he is the beginner level of the foliate crusher or the crushers. So, unfortunately, he's a little slow, but he gets the job done. All right, and then we get our gold dust. So then we can go make the gold chalk or the impure gold chalk. We need another impure white chalk to start out. All right, and then we just make our gold chalk, and then the impure gold chalk gets thrown into the spirit fire to make our regular golden chalk. All right, little crusher dude, we're going to go ahead and take the gold out of you, and I'm just going to put him in our ender leads for safekeeping. I think eventually he would despawn if we left him out, so putting him in the ender lead just keeps him safe so that we can take him out whenever we need him and then just put him away when we don't. So that completes that quest, gets us some more skill points, and gets us that next step there. So next up we need some Efreet essence. So using the golden chalk, we're going to go ahead and make the next ritual, which is going to get us that Efreet essence. So if we take a look in our Dictionary of Spirits again, we're going to go ahead and look for the one that tells us about getting the Efreet essence. And that's going to give us the pentacle that we need, which is for the gold chalk with the to get the Efreet essence. So we'll visualize that one, and then we can pick a spot for that as well. So we're going to kind of put it over here in this area, kind of close to the other one. We don't want to go too spread out because we want to make sure we have plenty of room for some of our other mods. Some of the other mods need some pretty expansive room later on as well. So then we just use our gold chalk, and we're going to do the same thing here where we're just going to go ahead and fill in all of the glyphs here. Pretty simple. And then we need another golden ritual bowl or golden sacrificial bowl, whatever they call it. So we'll get that bowl made up. Super simple again. And that goes right in the middle. And that completes that pentacle. Now we're going to need to take a look at the recipe to see exactly what it is that we need for the Efreet essence. We'll bookmark it. And then we can grab all of our stuff. We needed flint and steel, gunpowder, magma block, and nether quartz. All right, then once we have all our stuff, we can go ahead and put all of that in the bowls. So we have our magma block, our flint and steel, and then our gunpowder. We also need another book of binding, but this one is going to be the Efreet one, which is a little different. We need some purple dye instead of the dye that we were using before, but that's fine. We have plenty of that. We can make plenty of purple dye. And then once we make our book, we can combine it with our Dictionary of Spirits like we did with the other one, and that's going to get us the bound version again. So then the last thing we need is to sacrifice a cow for our ritual. So I don't have any cows out here right now, so I'm going to have to go ahead and summon some cows. We do have our summoning altar, so I can go ahead and just do the summoning ritual real quick to summon some cows. So I can take a look through the summoning options to see what's the stuff I need to summon a cow. Looks like we just need a few things. Some sacred spirit, bone block, nature essence, and leather. Okay, and I have this backpack here, and in this backpack I have a mob catcher upgrade. So this mob catcher upgrades allows me to shift and right click on a passive mob, and it actually stores it in our backpack. So then you could just click on the mob inside your backpack to release it. And so that's how we're going to move our cows around as well. All right, so we'll just do our summoning ritual right up here. Put our items onto the summoning altar. And get some cows summoned in. And then we'll take our backpack and we'll shift click onto our cows to store them in our backpack. All right, so then we can go ahead and put our book in our ritual. And we can release our cow. And then we just have to slaughter our cow. All right. That completes the ritual and gives us our Efreet essence. All right, so we did go ahead and get our Efreet essence, so that's another quest completed as well. And that's one of the pieces that we need for the ritual to summon Jormungandr. So, awesome, we're one step closer to summoning Jormungandr. So next up, we need to go ahead and get a fused consciousness. So we need to go to the Weeping Well in Niflheim, and in my mining expeditions in the last episode, I did find a Weeping Well. So I used an energized Hearthstone to mark my location in one so that I could just fast travel back to the Weeping Well. So I didn't have to try to like go back there and mine my way back or find a new one or anything like that. So we do have a fast travel location directly to a Weeping Well. So I need to throw the encyclopedia into the Weeping Well and acquire the fused consciousness. All right, so we have fast traveled to our Weeping Well, and when we're here, there's a strange pulsating sound. It's very unsettling. Not to mention that our Weeping Well is alongside a bunch of skulk, which is also very unsettling. I wasn't a big fan of that, but anyway, we have our Weeping Well, and we need to take our Encyclopedia Arcana, I believe it's called, and we're going to need to go ahead and throw that into the well. So we'll take our Encyclopedia Arcana out, and let's turn off our magnet just in case it doesn't. We don't want it to suck up the item before it does its thing. And you can see it's kind of like pulsating in our inventory too, where it doesn't do that when we're back at our home base. But yeah, I think without further ado, just toss it in. And it seems like the well just spits it back out, so that's good. And now we have the Encyclopedia Esoterica. And then the quest also told us to jump into the well, so I mean, I guess here we go. Here goes nothing. Oh, well, the well spit us out too, so I guess the well wasn't too happy with us either. I'm feeling rather, well, rejected. A little rejected by the well. But hey, it told us to do that, so alright, so we need to get, for the quest, the fused consciousness. So we need to take a look at how we get that. So we get that, we can bookmark the recipe. We can get that by throwing a complete design into the Weeping Well. So to get the complete design, we're going to have to go back a little bit in our recipe chain here. We need an anomalous design, and we use all of the different kinds of spirits with that. So we get the anomalous design by throwing a block of iron into the Weeping Well. And that's just a standard block of iron. So we're going to have to go back home to grab a block of iron. So we'll do that real quick. Alrighty. So I do apologize. I lost a little bit of my recording there. We got our fused consciousness, but essentially we threw our block of iron into the Weeping Well. It gave us the anomalous design, and then we put our anomalous design onto the spirit infusion altar with 4 of each of the 8 different spirit types, and that gave us the complete design. And then we just took the complete design back to the well again, threw that into the well, and that gave us our fused consciousness. So with that, that does give us that next part of our quest completed and makes us move on to the next section, which is going to be some more blood magic. Alright, so now that we're moving on to some more blood magic, we upgraded our blood altar to a tier 3. So with the divining sigil, you can use or divination sigil, excuse me, you can right click on your altar and it'll tell you down at the bottom left what your current tier is and current capacity. So our current tier is a tier 3 blood altar currently. So that's what we're going to need for this next part of our quest. So we'll take a look. We need a magician's blood orb, and it says a binding reagent is the main ritual catalyst used for summoning Jormungandr. Although its recipe is trivially simple, it only accepts blood sacrificed at a tier 3 blood altar. So upgrade to a tier 3 blood altar and craft a binding reagent. So we did go ahead and upgraded to that blood 3 tier altar. And we just need to throw an Easnium ingot in. It does require 25,000 LP, which our blood altar only goes up to, has a capacity of 18,000. So that's a little problematic, but I could make more of those runes a capacity that would give us more capacity in our blood altar. But what I think I'll do instead is while our Easnium ingot is doing its thing and absorbing all of the LP, the life essence in there from the blood, I think I'll just continue to poke myself so that it just keeps adding more blood and we just don't run out. That way it has enough and can continue its process. Okay, perfect. So that worked out great. We got our Magician's Blood Orb. So the next thing we need is going to be that binding reagent, but we did get one of these quests completed as well, which gives us a few extra things for blood magic, plus some more magic skill points as well. So next up, we do need to get that binding reagent for the main part of our quest. And to do that, we just need a few basic things in our alchemy table. So I need to bind this new blood orb to myself. And then I should be able to use that now at our alchemy table. Alright, so we're going to take all of our ingredients over to the alchemy table, put all of them in, and then we should be able to put our orb in. And with all of those things in there, it should be making our binding reagent that we need. Perfect, so we got our binding reagent. And that completes that part of the quest as well. So we got some more skill points. And the next part of that quest completed. So it says the slumbering Frostmaw is one of the many fearsome beings that can be summoned via the summoning altar. I can summon it in Niflheim by offering 4 soul-infused dust and an entombed stone as the catalyst. The task is to slay the Frostmaw. So we would need the 4 soul-infused dust and an attuned stone. So we'll take a look. The soul-infused dust. That's going to be pretty simple. And then the attuned stone. That one's going to make us get into Enchanted a little bit, which is going to be the next section of our quest book. Alright, so next up we have the Witch's Oven. Not all rituals are used to summon or access things from other realms. Some can be used to extract from the items themselves. Though the Witch's Oven is clearly not a ritual, it can still be used to acquire magical extracts and store them inside a clay jar. Make exhale of the horned one using the Witch's Oven. So we need to make a Witch's Oven. That's easy enough to make. And then we need to make the exhale of the horned one from the Witch's Oven. So we'll go ahead and we'll make the Witch's Oven first. Then we're going to need some coal to put in it. We need that to burn. Then to make the exhale of the horned one, we need oak saplings in there. And that's going to make wood ash as the primary output. And then occasionally you get exhale of the horned one as a secondary output or like a byproduct. You might not always get an exhale though. That's not a guaranteed output. So for every one oak sapling, you may not get one exhale. So just something to keep in mind. You'll want extra saplings than you think you might need just in case you don't get one right away. We also need these clay jars, so to get those you need to make soft clay jars, and then those get smelted in the furnace. They are also EMC-able, so you can just go ahead and duplicate a bunch of them also. So we're going to use this section over here because it seems large enough. It does require a pretty big area for enchanted. We're going to put our coal in, our oak sapling, and then our clay jars. And that's going to start making our wood ash, and then hopefully our exhales will begin to be made as well. All right, so we got the quest for Witch's Oven completed with that exhale of the horned one. So that's good. We can take out these saplings to make it stop the process for right this second while we do some other stuff and check out our quest. So completing that gives us some more skill points, some extra clay jars. And then it says, I'll need to destroy some grass to obtain a variety of seeds to create an anointing paste that can allow a normal cauldron to withstand multiple or magical fluctuations. I should first use the witch's cauldron to make mutandis, a magical fertilizer that I'll use to convert regular saplings into rowan saplings. Make mutandis in the witch's cauldron and use it on saplings to get rowan saplings. So we need to make a witch's cauldron. To do that, we need anointing paste, and we need to use it on a regular cauldron. So the regular cauldron, that's simple enough to make. It's just iron. No problem there. But then we need to make that anointing paste. And that's going to require some seeds. We might have all the seeds for it. Let's take a look. No, we don't have snowbell seeds. It says not obtainable in Helheim. So I think we're going to have to go back to Niflheim to get those. So, let's grab some grass. We'll grab some grass and, some bone meal so that we can get some seeds. We'll plant the grass in Niflheim, and that should allow us to get the, snowbell seeds that we need. So we'll go back to the well and do that there so that we can get the seeds. Alright, so down here we can take our grass and we can just plant some grass here, and then we'll use our bone meal on the grass and then just grab some seeds and hopefully get our snowbell seeds. Looks like we got tomato and barley, some peanut seeds. And there we go. We got a snowbell seed. But let's see if we can grab just a couple more because they don't have EMC, so we can't duplicate them. So let's see if we can grab just a few more while we're here. We can come back, but better to grab some more. Looks like we got another one. Oh, we're up to 3 now. All right, and we're up to 4. So I think we'll leave it at 4. That should be fine. All right, and then we can head back home. All right, so we can put our seeds away, and then that should allow us to go ahead and make the anointing paste. Awesome. So then we can go ahead and put our cauldron down up here, back by our oven. Use the anointing paste. All right, and that gives us the witch's cauldron. So we're going to have to make some mutandis. Now you have to make sure in the witch's cauldron that you put everything in the correct order that it shows here. So it's going to have to be mandrake root, and then the the exhale, and then the egg. If you don't put them in the correct order as shown there, it will mess up the potion or the cauldron stuff, and it will ruin the whole batch, and you just have to start over. Plus, you lose everything that you've already put in. So definitely make sure that you're following the order on that. It's very important. So I'm going to go ahead and get some mandrake seeds, and we'll just plant the mandrake seeds up by the cauldron and the oven just because it's easier and we're going to need them right there. So might as well just plant them in the grass up here. Alright, so we could fill up our witch's cauldron with our water buckets. It takes 4 buckets of water to fill up the witch's cauldron. Alright, and then we do need to heat up the witch's cauldron as well, so we need to grab a campfire to put under the witch's cauldron, so we can do that also. So we'll grab our campfire, and we'll put that under the witch's cauldron. Alright. Perfect. And then we throw in our mandrake root, and then throw in our exhale. And then lastly, we throw in our egg. And that should give us our Mutandis. So then you just right-click on the pot to get your finished product out. And 1 pot of that stuff makes 6 Mutandis. And then we need to get a rowan sapling. So it wants us to take the oak sapling and use the Mutandis on it to change it into a rowan sapling. So we can use the Mutandis on it, and that's going to change it into different things. And unfortunately, we did not get a rowan sapling off the first batch. So I'm just going to continue to make as many batches as it takes to get us a rowan sapling and go from there. So hopefully it doesn't take too many more batches and we get a rowan sapling relatively quickly. Alright, we finally got our rowan sapling. So thankfully, that part is done. And it took a little bit more than we wanted, but we got some extra Mutandis. So now it says if I want to start infusing more magic into things, I'll need some sort of vessel that is able to store magical power. A 3x2 altar will serve as the perfect vessel if powered by a variety of magically inclined items. This stored power will be consumed upon use. Assemble and power an altar. So we need 6 of the altar blocks to make our 3x2 altar. And then you can open the guide me to show you what some of the items are that are going to help power it. But first we need to make the altar blocks. So we have the exhale of the horned one, but we're also going to need some other exhales. So we get more of the exhale of the horned ones going with our oak saplings. Grab some more of our clay jars. We can stick those in there as well. But we also need Breath of the Goddess, which is going to need birch saplings in a witch's oven. So to get that, we can use our transmutation on an oak sapling. So that's good. We have our transmutation thingy, the Philosopher's Stone. So we could just put down an oak sapling, use our Philosopher's Stone, and get a birch sapling. Alright, I'm going to make a second witch's oven as well, because then we can have multiple things going at the same time. So we can grab some more coal. We have plenty of coal. So we can get a couple of these going, and then we don't have to worry as much about like swapping things out. We can just use 2 witches oven at the same time. So we'll put down a second one right back here. We'll put in our coal, in our clay jars, and our birch sapling. Alright, we grabbed some of our Breath of the Goddess out of the witch's oven, and our wood ash, so we could put all of those away. And then we should be able to, let's see, we should be able to make our altar blocks. We need some rowan logs. So we're going to need to make some stone bricks and some rowan logs. Alright, we'll chop down our rowan tree here. That's going to give us our rowan logs. And our rowan logs are EMC-able, so that's good. All right, so then we just need some water bottles, so we can grab some bottles, and we can get water bottles, no problem. We just take our bottles from our inventory, and we can fill them up in our water up here. So we'll get our 6 water bottles. And then we should be able to make our 6 altars. All right. And that makes all 6 of those, and that completes that quest. That gets us more skill points. So then we can go ahead and put down our altar. So it needs to be in an area where a lot of things can reach it. So I think right in this area is pretty good. It's got to be a 3x2. So this looks good. And then that forms our altar. So we need to put a couple things on it. So we need to, we can look at the guide me. It should tell us a little bit more in there. Let's see. If we look at our altar, we can hold G. So it says boosting altar power. So we have skulls. Wither skeleton skulls give more, but we don't have those quite yet. And then there's torches, candles, or a candelabra. So we want to make a candelabra. And then a chalice. So we definitely want the chalice as well. Okay. So we can take the skeleton skull and we can put it on the altar. And then let's take a look at the candelabra. So for that, we can bookmark it. We need an attuned stone, and to get that we need a whiff of magic. To get that we need rowan saplings in the oven. Okay, that's no problem. I should be able to do that. Put the rowan saplings in. And then I can also check out the chalice. And looks like that also is going to require an attuned stone. So I'm going to need a couple of those attuned stones, which means I'll need a couple buckets of lava. So let me grab those real quick. Okay, and then we can grab our whips of magic. And then with all of that, I should be able to make the attuned stones that I need. Okay. Alright, so we can make the chalice, and then we can make the candelabra. So then those two can go onto our altar up here. No problemo. Alright, and then that gives us a total altar power of 621 with a 4 times refresh rate. So we're going to need to add some nature around our altar. And the way that it works is it's the diversity of nature and the amount of nature. So different saplings, grass, flowers, crops, things like that. So you want to put a wide variety, so not just one type. You want like oak, birch, rowan, flowers of different kinds, crops of different kinds. So it's a lot of stuff that has to be around the altar to get it to the required altar power. Now, right now, to get us through this section of the quest book, we need an altar power of 3,000. So I'm going to go through and add enough stuff to get us up to that altar power of 3,000. So just bear with me a little bit while I do that, and then I'll be back once we get to that altar power of 3,000. Okie dokie, so we finally got our altar power up to 3,000 with a variety of trees and flowers and plants, and all sorts of stuff. So our altar power is up to 3,600 something, and it's pretty much just trial and error at that point. So now we need to make our distillery, and that's going to get us our gypsum. so we need to craft a distillery. So all that's pretty simple. We just need to use one of our attuned stones to make the distillery. That should be no problem. So we have everything. We just make our distillery. The distillery is just a 1-block item as well, so it should just be able to go right next to our other stuff. Alright, we can put down our distillery. And then we need to make our gypsum. So to do that, we need some foul fume and quicklime and clay jars. Okay, so to make our foul fume, we're going to have to... let's see, this is the witch's oven. That's not going to work. The foul fume... Oh, we can make it in our distillery. We do the breath of the goddess and lapis, and that's going to give us foul fume and the other stuff. Okay. So we have to get the foul fume in the distillery. So we just need breath of the goddess and some lapis. That's not too bad, and we should be able to have both of those. And I know we have lapis. So we'll grab that. And those will both go in our distillery with the clay jar. So the breath of the goddess, the lapis, and then it's doing its thing. And that should get us the foul fume and then also the other stuff that are other byproducts of stuff. Alright, so we got all of our stuff there. Tear of the goddess, whiff of magic, slime ball, and foul fume. So we can let the rest of those make up their stuff. The quicklime is just wood ash. So we just literally turn wood ash into quicklime. That's easy enough. Just literally a quick transformation into that. We'll get the rest of these materials. Might as well use the rest of our breath of the goddess up. Let's see. We got even more actually, but we don't need to make more than just what we have here. That's fine. And then once that's done, we should be able to make our gypsum. Let's see. Okay, so we can grab this stuff. Then we put our foul fume and our quicklime. And that should make us our gypsum. And then also some oil of vitriol and some slime balls. Seems like we get slime balls from just about everything. Not complaining, we don't need them right now, but maybe we'll need them down the line. Who knows? They're EMCable as well, so... Alright, so we got our gypsum. That gives us more skill points. Another attuned stone. Gives us our book, and then gets us to the next quest. So it says, I must now assemble a rite near my altar with 2 outer rune circles surrounding a golden rune. Once everything is in place, I can throw the ingredients on the ground close to the central golden rune and interact with it to begin the rite. Create a charged attuned stone using an advanced rite. So we need to make a few things. We need to make some ritual chalk, some golden chalk, and then we need to use all of that to create our charged attuned stone. So some basic recipes here. We have another witch's cauldron recipe, another crafting recipe, and then a circle magic from enchanted. Alright, we got all of our gypsum that we were making, so that's good. Alright, so we need to make our ritual chalk. So that's just tear of the goddess, wood ash, and gypsum. That gives us 2 of those, which is good because we need 1 for our white, and then we also need to make the gold. And for the gold, we just need a mandrake root, a gold nugget, and then one of those white ones. So that should be no problem. I think I have all of that. We have a gold nugget. And then we should have the mandrake root. Okay. And I just need a bucket to be able to fill it with water. Alright, so we'll fill up our cauldron. And then we need our mandrake root, our gold nugget, and then our white chalk in that order. So we have our mandrake root. Next up is gold nugget. and then our ritual chalk. And that should get us our gold chalk. Hopefully. Alright. Perfect. We got our gold chalk. Alright. Alright, so then we need to make our chalk outline here. So it's going to be 5 glyphs in a row, and then 2 diagonal, and then another diagonal and 5. And... okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Diagonal, diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Diagonal, diagonal, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then diagonal, diagonal, and then we need to make the inside circle, and that should be, let's see, so it's just going to be 1 block in, and then 3 with 1 diagonal. So 1 block in, and then 1, 2, 3. 1 block in, 2, 3. 1 block in, 2 and 3. And then 1 block in, 2 and 3. And then just a diagonal in each corner. Where is the diagonal? There it is. Alright, and there, and there. And then right in the middle, we just have our gold. And that is not the middle. Whoops. That's the middle. There we go. Alright, so then we just need to grab all of our ingredients for this ritual. Okay, so then we have all of our stuff. We have our redstone dust, our quicklime, our wood ash, and glowstone dust, and then the attuned stone. And we should be able to just throw it all in the middle, right-click on it, and it goes. Perfect. And with that, we get our charged attuned stone. Ta-da! Awesome. That gives us another charged attuned stone. And I think that gives us what we need there. Okay, so we need to make that soul-infused dust. We need to get a few things. We need iron dust, we need copper dust, and and we need some soul sand dust. So we need to get our foliate crusher out to crush our iron and our copper, because we don't have any other way right now, at least, to crush that, to crush those ores. So we're just going to use our foliate crusher in the meantime. I have some soul sand, so we can go ahead and crush that as well. And then once we get all of those things crushed down, we will be able to actually go ahead and summon that Frostmaw, and we should be able to take him on. Alright, so we got our soul-infused dust, so that's good. And then our attuned stone. And then we're going to head on over to Niflheim. Alright. And then down here we're going to fight the Frostmaw. So we're going to put our summoning altar down. And we just put all of our items into the summoning altar. So we put our soul-infused dust first. And then our attuned stone and summon our Frostmaw. Now, our Frostmaw is not going to be any trouble for us with our increased spells, the way that we've like increased their power, and the way that we've taken you know, upped our armor and stuff like that in between episodes. The Frostmaw is not going to be a challenge, so I don't anticipate this taking long, just so you're aware, but we'll go ahead and we'll summon him in and take him out quickly, to say the least. Alright, we summon him in. We can summon our swords. Between our summon swords and our firecracker spell, We make pretty quick work of him. If you look at his health bar, it just drains instantly. We are just demolishing him. So with that, we have demolished our Frostmaw. He was no challenge whatsoever. But that ice crystal is one of the items that we need to summon Jormungandr. So with that, we now have all of the items needed to summon Jormungandr. So we have our binding reagent, our Efreet essence, our ice crystal, our fused consciousness, and our charged attuned stone. So we can finally summon Jormungandr. But we're not going to do that this episode. We are going to save that for the beginning of next episode. We've done quite a bit this episode. We went through occultism, we went through enchanted, we got our enchanted altar up quite a bit. We went down pretty much that entire length of the quests for Niflheim, all the way through, you know, getting up to slaying Jormungandr. So I'm super excited to do that at the beginning of next episode. After we slay Jormungandr, it's also going to unlock Muspelheim for us. And with that, Muspelheim unlocks a bunch of stuff that I'm really looking forward to. So I'm super excited to get there, to get to that point so we can unlock a bunch of new cool stuff. But once we unlock that stuff and I get a few things that I'm like looking to really get before we do anything else, then we're going to go back and we're actually going to choose Jotunheim, or not choose Jotunheim, but we're going to do the Jotunheim path. Because when you first start out in this section, you have to choose either Niflheim or Jotunheim. But after you've completed one or the other, you can go back and do the other. The other opens up and unlocks. So we're going to go back and do the Jotunheim quest book section so that we can still do all of that stuff, get all those quest rewards, because we're still going to get skill points and stuff like that. And we want to get all that. Plus, we want to go through and make sure we're not missing anything that maybe might be better or different than what we're using currently. And it's just good to kind of, you know, complete everything just to, you know, for completionist's sake. It is an RPG mod pack after all, so, you know, it's very quest driven. So we want to complete everything. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I greatly appreciate you guys. You guys are incredible with all of your support. As of recording this, we're at 99 subscribers on my new gaming-specific Sai Strikeling channel. So thank you guys. That's this channel that you're watching this on. Thank you guys so much for helping me get there. I greatly appreciate it. If you guys did like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like all my content, go ahead and subscribe if you do feel so inclined to do so. I look forward to seeing you guys as in the next episode when we take on and slay Jormungandr. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I know we're going to be able to do it. So thank you again, everybody. I'm Sai Strikeling, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.